This is the Fantasy Football Game Plan, where we talk about fantasy football and the NFL.
What's going on?
Being a little bored with football season. How's it going for you?
Because the games are just too exciting.
Yeah, not a lot of points being scored this year. There's something like 100 less touchdowns have been scored at this point compared to the past.
Defense. Okay,
Well,
maybe that.
yeah, you know what? But it's not defense. I like watching really good defense. I'm happy with that. But that's not what's going on. What's going on is most teams catch the ball and fall down is their top play.
Right.
Get the ball from the center, fall down. Miss all your blocks, take a penalty, drop the ball, miss the throw, fall down, get up, fall down again. That's pretty much what I'm seeing. I do not want to watch Denver play football ever again. They stink.
Well. Here's a tip for you then. Go get the Jets if you need to stream a defense this week because they're playing the Broncos.
Yes. I agree. I have them. I have the Jets and the Broncos as my top defenses. We'll start at the other end this week.
You could just blitz through the offensive line like you mentioned 2 weeks ago, and they're just Swiss cheese up there. They look pylons, I think. That's not very nice to call professional athletes that. They're just not doing their job.
I agree.
I don't have any defensive suggestions other than the Jets because they're playing the Broncos. And it's funny how you just started off with a rant on the Broncos because there goes our defensive suggestion. So you're also saying that you should go after the Broncos defense because that's the only good part of their team at the moment.
Yeah, you could argue maybe the tight end who came out of nowhere, Greg Dulcich. But,
Yep.
He had one big play and then he was done. So I don't want to watch Denver play, but if you're desperate for a tight end, as many people often are, you could take a chance on that guy. Because why not? You don't have to watch the game, though. You could just take Dulcich, play him as your tight end, because we didn't talk about this, but there's all kinds of buys this week. So the Rams, the Bills, the Eagles, and the Vikings are all on buys. So that's a bit of a problem. There's going to be, you talk about a lack of scoring, there's going to be even less scoring this week. Because now you don't have Josh Allen and you don't have Jalen Hurts and you don't have Justin Jefferson from the Vikings. You just don't have so many guys. You don't have Cooper Kupp. So this week's going to be really boring, but we're still going to play fantasy football. Just you don't have to watch is all I'm saying.
It was good to see Robinson score a couple touchdowns for the Rams though this week. So I've actually saw in my league him get dropped after our conversation 2 weeks ago. And so he's sitting right now on the waiver wire. So if you have room on your bench, you don't have a player that's just out. That was kind of cool to see that Stafford was trying to spread the ball around other than Cooper Kupp. But that offense is kind of shaken up with Cam Akers kind of like in limbo right now, and no one really knows where he's going to go. Because that was a big disturbance on Saturday night, I think, right before Sunday this week.
Yeah, so I guess emotional problems or whatever, there's some kind of issue there with personalities. We saw a lot of that this week. So since we're there, we could talk about, his name's Kyron Williams. So apparently he's going to be replacing Cam Akers. They may trade him. So he's a guy to look at for running backs this week because of the mess with the Rams. I know that they're on a bye, but going forward, I don't know if we're going to see Cam Akers.
And I think Henderson has already been snapped up a long time ago, so he's not even on a waiver wire.
No, he won't be available. I don't know what's going to happen in that Rams backfield, but you know what? We all need running backs. Very inconsistent position this year, so guy you might want to look at there, Kyron Williams. They liked him. He played in the first game, and then he got hurt. But they were going to go with the 3 guys. But now Cam Akers is out of the picture, so Kyron Williams could be a guy.
Good suggestion.
Who do you want to go for your top waiver pickup this week?
Personal choice?
Yeah.
Would be an Arizona Cardinals wide receiver that is currently available. And the only person I can think of is, if he's available, is Robbie Anderson, if he hasn't been dropped, because he just got acquired. Other than that, there was a guy that we've talked about before, Zay Jones. He would be also someone I would think of as being a wide receiver pickup for this week if you need it because of injuries or buys.
I like him. I actually have him on my team. I think he's a good suggestion. I can't really argue against him because he leads the team in targets. He hasn't had a big explosive game, but he's a pretty consistent guy. So I think that is a good guy to look at. I've got some other receiver possibilities here. We've talked about Alec Pierce before from Indy, but he had a great game. Scored a touchdown. His targets are increasing every week. And he's my top receiver guy to go look at coming up here because Indy's starting to play a little better. What do you think?
Yeah, we've talked about him, I believe, a couple weeks ago too. So if he's still available, definitely someone to look at. As Pittman did see something like 15 catches, but Pierce did get a lot of those other catches too. So
Yeah,
good to see the ball being spread around a little bit by Matt Ryan. Yeah, and I guess the one other person I could probably just throw out there, because all their wide receivers are kind of injured and they're kind of like the underdog team to cheer for this year, is the Giants. Wan'dale Robinson, who seemed to have just come out of nowhere. I don't even see him on a depth chart on ESPN today, too. I didn't even see him on the list.
Wan'dale with a W.
Yeah.
Wan'dale Robinson. I have him too. I think he's a great get. You know, he won the job in training camp and he started this year and then he got hurt in game 1. So I have him too. I think he'd be a great pickup on the waiver wire. That's a great team, and all their other receivers are having problems or injured.
That's why he made my list for this week.
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, we should throw in the one you've mentioned before, the Jameson Williams, because Detroit's coming off a bye, and maybe take a flyer on him. I don't know if he's going to play this season, but he's supposed to be a great player.
Yeah, well, they are playing Dallas. So Noah Brown from Dallas might be someone to also look at, as they're playing one of the worst defenses in the league of the Detroit Lions. So if you need that one spot covered for this week, maybe Noah Brown could be someone available.
Okay, and I have another guy who people might not be thinking about. We've talked about him in the past, but it was a while ago, and they're coming off of a bye, so he could be available in your league. He's available in mine. Nico Collins from Houston.
Yeah, we've talked about him, I think, week 2. So definitely someone who's been coming on. And it's good that we talk about these guys often, because, you know, it just kind of restates the fact that, you know, like, these guys are catching footballs or catching touchdowns and making points. So, you know, if there are some being repetitive, not everybody watches every episode. So it's good to know.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to circle back to you briefly mentioned Matt Ryan, and I would say for quarterbacks, since you've got a lot of good QBs on bye week, I think Matt Ryan could be a guy that could help you out for a week or two. What do you think?
Sure.
Not so excited?
No, I'm not so excited. He did beat Dan Marino's record, I guess, this week. So he's got an accolade. Now he's like 8th in all-time passing yards or something like that. It's a good old for Matt Ryan, but I think the guy to get is a guy that has performed last year very well. Taylor Heinicke from Washington, with Wentz being out with a finger injury. He's sitting on the bench. He's eager to play. It's kind of like has that Bridgewater mentality where he's like, I should be the starter. He's probably going to come out with a bandana on and just looking to win. And so I think he has the gut And if you want to go with a gut player, someone who puts everything on his shoulders, Taylor Heinicke could be your quarterback this week.
And if I was the owner of Terry McLaurin, I would be so excited right now because Heinicke likes to throw to Terry McLaurin, but apparently no one else that plays quarterback for the Manders likes to throw to him. So he's a great player, Terry McLaurin. He got paid in the offseason. Maybe he's finally going to get the ball a little bit here with Heinicke in the lineup. They connected well last year.
Oh, I totally agree. He's one of the top receivers in the league, and he's been underperforming for the last 6 weeks because for some reason they don't like throwing him the ball. But yeah, you're right. So, anyways, that's my quarterback for this week. So you're thinking Matt Ryan. I'm thinking Taylor Heinicke. Hasn't done anything this year, but years past or just his emotion going in, he's gonna want to win.
Yeah, some other suggestions would be if Tua is available. Also, Jared Goff coming off a bye might be out there on a waiver wire somewhere. Jimmy G maybe could help you this week. And then I don't know who the starter for these guys is. Is it Bailey Zape or Mac Jones? But if Zape's been playing really well, so I'd look at him if you need a QB help this week.
Yeah, I guess it's a Friday decision or a Saturday decision to see who they're going with. So
yeah,
maybe you don't put any fab money on any Patriots quarterbacks until you know what's going on at the end. That's only if you need a quarterback this week, because like you said, like there's a couple of high quarterbacks that are not going to be playing this week because of bye weeks.
I'm going to give you the first shot at running back. Anybody you like?
We've talked about him in the past. The Atlanta running back, Khalif Huntley. With Patterson being down, he did get a couple touches last week. So he's just someone that I have on my list.
I'm not big on anybody, but there's a few guys that, are sort of a maybe. They're sort of a dart throw. They could be big at some point. Gus Edwards on Baltimore, if he comes off of injury, he's going to be huge because they need help with their running game. And then there's all these trade rumors about McCaffrey getting traded out of Carolina. So Donta Foreman is his backup if you want to stash that guy.
But you can get the Edmonton native, Chuba Herbert.
Yeah, he's not the number 2 on that team, though. So, I mean, Latavius Murray got all the work last night in Denver.
Why are we talking about Denver again? We already talked about not talking about Denver.
I know, because they played the worst running team and they still couldn't run. So I think that's the best game any Denver running backs can have. But if you need a starter, one interesting guy is Jaylen Warren from Pittsburgh because Harris has been injured a lot and they do like him. He's looked good when he's had the ball. So, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, slim pickings out there, so that's a great suggestion.
Okay, well, we can just move to tight ends. We love talking about tight ends. Really inconsistent position. Tunyon's got a ton of targets last week, 12 of them, because everybody else who plays receiver on that team is injured. So,
or can catch, like you were talking about. Like you talked about at the top of the episode.
Yeah.
Forget how to play football in the position that they're hired to play.
Yeah. So another guy I have is Cade Otton from Tampa Bay because Cam Brate got injured and he'll be out for a while.
Another Giants, just because no one on the Giants is really kind of like a superstar name at the moment, but his name is Daniel Bellinger. He's someone that kind of got some workout last week, so maybe his numbers will go up again this week too. So if you're needing a tight end, I need a tight end. I got rid of Tunyon after week 2 and kind of regret it right now, but yeah, that's where I sit right now with tight ends. So I'm kind of like on the wire looking for tight ends, but I don't know if I can spend any money because no one's really giving you more than in a PPR league, more than 9 points anyway. So unless you have the highest number 1 tight end, so it's almost like a blip in my. I don't even like count on that position making a dent in my overall numbers.
I had Bellinger too, so I think that's a good pick. And I agree with you. No one's scoring. So you could just plug anyone in there for a week, and who knows what'll happen. It's
Yeah.
just all the offenses are stuck in the mud, except for some of these ones that are on a bye, like the Bills and the Eagles and the Vikings. So it might be a good weekend to do some lawn work. Like maybe you have a room that needs painting.
That was last week for me because the Lions weren't playing. So this week I'm kind of excited to get back into 10 a.m. football instead of 1 p.m. football. These late nights are killing me. Last night I was up till, because of overtime, I was up till I think 11:15 or something like that. Good thing about last night's game that the penalties were, pretty high up there, so it extended the night even further for me. But this East Coast sport schedule is sure as it's sure is an adjustment that I haven't yet adjusted to. So
Yeah,
kind
it's better. It's better to be on the West Coast for sports for sure.
oh yeah, Monday night games, 8:15 start. I'm already like napping, wake like whoa. But yeah, so yeah, it's I'm not going to be doing any gardening work. I'm going to be actually watching football early morning on Sunday night, Sunday morning. So that's going to be fun for me.
Okay, well, I'm gonna throw out a kicker. I got two actually. Nick Folk from the Patriots. Go pick him up. He can help you if your kicker's on a bye, and also like Jason Sanders from the Dolphins this week too.
Oh, there's a defense to pick up. Maybe the Dolphins. They're playing the Steelers, so the Steelers are having problems. I don't have anyone for kickers. Your kickers are fine. You can stream anything. You can find out.
This is uh, this is a stinky year for fantasy football.
So I guess you didn't win last week, and that's why you're kind of like
No,
bitter.
you know why? I've got the pathetic combination of Travis Kelce and Justin Jefferson, and I got smashed because the guy I played had Mike Gesicki and Juju Smith-Schuster. So, I'm glad I spent time in the off season analyzing and thinking about fantasy football. I was licking my chops going up against this guy. He had nothing. His team was garbage. And he beat me. Not by a lot, but hey, I didn't have Juju Smith Schuster or Mike Gesicki. Nor would I want them. But if I had them, I would have won. So I'm
Right.
2-4. My team is as average as any other team out there. My guys can't all score on the same day. Travis Kelce scored 4 touchdowns last week. It did not help me at all. How's it going for you, Scott?
I won again, but I lost last week when we didn't talk.
Okay.
So I'm currently sitting in number 2 spot, just 10 points behind the leader, and that's who I lost against as well too. So she has a pretty good team this year, so it's going to be a tough competition. So just trying to get more points as possible. But Marquise Brown went down for me this week, which was pretty much my workhorse. But good thing I have trusty Terry McLaurin sitting on my bench that I haven't played in a couple of weeks. That I'll be slotting him into my third receiver spot, and hopefully Taylor Heinicke can throw him the football. So I'm looking positive into this week. It's going to be another tough week. I'm playing the tie for the number 1 spot as well too. There's 3 of us tied for number 1, but in point differentials, I'm sitting in second spot. So it's another tough week for me. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, it just pretty much, it's all over the board. The other week I was scoring 173 points, and this week I was at one of the highest at 130. So the fluctuation between people's benches is the same in my league too. And I can see even the guy I played against last week, he has a really great team, but you just can't when not everyone is scoring, or like you mentioned about 100 less touchdowns, or you're just getting really crappy Monday and Thursday night games with field goals being the only points scored, and that's been like 2 weeks consistent that we've seen those types of games.
Yeah.
Great for kickers, but no one's watching European soccer here. We're all watching American football. So I'd like to see more touchdowns, that's for sure. I'd like to see more offense.
I absolutely agree. Well said.
Next week, hopefully you win. Hopefully you win. I'll be in BC time next week, so it'll be good. Good different scenery.
All right, man. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching the Fantasy Football Game Plan podcast. Need coaching on your lineup? Drop us a line and we'll discuss your dilemma.